an assistant manager at a store, and it was really good for me. And I ended up having to quit that because I was so sick. And I went and saw doctor after doctor after doctor, everybody trying to figure out what's wrong with me and what's going on. And my close friends and family actually gave me an intervention, and they thought I was doing crystal meth. And I thought that was funny because I would never touch that drug. And that's when people started realizing, you know, my best friend, she had said, you know, it's psychosis, it's not drugs. So that was huge. So I was hospitalized for 3.5 months because of it. At that point, I was catatonic. I could not talk and I could not hear what anybody said. And the doctors thought that I would never go back to normal. They thought I'd never be able to cope with it. So 3 months later, I proved them wrong and got out of the hospital and lived my life day after day, doing the best I can with absolutely everything. And I think that's huge too with people with mental illnesses and disabilities. Never ever give up. You know, there's a time for everybody to reach that point. Some people, it's hard for some people to talk about it and to deal with it, and they may feel that it will never get better. But once you're in, it's your own time. It's your own time that something's going to happen. So don't worry about it. You know, it'll happen. So, yeah.
Cool, awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing.
Yeah.
So,
we'll put your Lazuli.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll get back to you guys.
All right. Okay.
Oh.
Okay.
Hey guys, how's it going? Alright, so for this one we are going to do Lonely Life. This will be a cover of a very brilliant artist called City in Color. Alright, should we give her a go?
You Please don't pass me by. Please don't pass me
Thank you guys, that was awesome once again.
Thank you. Take the mic right out.
Take it out. Hi guys, welcome back, Sound Therapy Radio. And we are just organizing the equipment. Yeah, that was great music, eh? I absolutely love them. You guys have been
They're
on
fantastic.
twice now, so this will be your third time on the show.
Correct.
Third time's charm. Yeah, third time's a charm. I like it. Yeah.
It's a live show.
It is a live show. We've never done this before. Well, I haven't. Doing it today. Yeah, so we've got Andy who is here.
Hi.
And we're going to talk. I'll sit down. If you want. Thank you, Megan.
Is this one live? Mic?
How does the mic feel to you?
Feels like it's dead and like not on.
Try it again, Andy. Try again.
Okay. Yeah.
No.
No.
Here, we'll use my mic.
Okay.
We'll share a mic. Okay.
Okay.
So Andy's been coming on our show for the past year and a half.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah. Do you want to tell everybody how you got started doing it?
I got started on this through Lauren and just going on it and talking about my experiences and my fears and how other people may look at me.
You want to tell them a bit about yourself?
Yeah, I have autism. I have a lot of disabilities, and I'm here to prove that even though you're disabled, you can still do some things.
Thank you, Andy. Oh, I think they got your mic fixed.
Yeah,
There you go. That works.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I want to talk. I want to start talking about some of the past episodes that we have done. And we'll start with Annie. Do you remember what was your favorite episode that we did? Do you remember any?
I know poofy moments a lot.
You want to tell them about a poofy moment?
I guess if you want, yeah.
Yeah. Tell them.
Poofy is Lauren's chicken with the afro black hair, I guess.
She's so Poofy moment. So Poofy is a Polish hen chicken, and she's about 3.5 years old. She lives on my farm, and so the Poofy moment is when we talk about Poofy and her travels on the farm, and how everybody's doing. So yeah, we could do a Poofy moment right now.
Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah, let's do a Poofy moment right now. Let's do a Poofy moment right now. So Poofy's travels on the farm. Well, she's been getting into a lot of trouble, and her sisters have been getting into a lot of trouble, and so Poofy has 33 other sisters, and she lives in. It's a 2-house condo basically that we built for them, and there's three what would you say, Megan? Stories. Thank you. And so she's got 3 stories, so she lives with all of them. And then there's the 2 cats. So there's Butternut Squash and Gremlin. And every night, Butternut Squash and Gremlin go into because, at night chickens go in the house. They go in the house, there's coyotes and raccoons and everything out there. So the chickens go in the house and you lock them away for the night. So the 2 cats will go and they'll go into their pen and they'll search around the pen and they'll protect the chickens. Well, we had a visitor. Mom called me. And she said, Lauren, I saw something underneath the chicken coop. I said, what? What was it, Mom? She says, Lauren, it was black with a white stripe. I said, no. I said, it's a skunk? She says, yes, there's a skunk living underneath the chicken coop. And I said, oh, well, all I thought about skunks were that they were smelly, and you wouldn't want them to smell. But apparently, skunks like to eat chicken eggs. That's one of their big wants is chicken eggs, and then they can kill the chicken as well. So every night, Mom's been going out there, and she puts a light. So the skunk has dug a hole under the chicken coop, right? Dug a hole under the chicken coop. So Mom went online and read all of this stuff about how to get rid of skunks. And apparently they don't like bright lights. So Mom has put a light at night that goes into the hole that she found. And then she gets a rake. And she fixes the rake underneath the chicken coop and goes, ah, 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 and swishes the rake around trying to get the skunk out. And I said to her, Mom, I says, Mom, isn't that going to provoke the skunk? And then you're going to get sprayed? She says, well, it hasn't happened yet. I said, oh, okay. So we're waiting for that day when she finds the skunk and she gets sprayed.
Hopefully it doesn't happen, which doesn't stink.
Yeah, that wouldn't be good, but at least I don't live with her anymore.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so that's our poofy moment for this week.
Yeah.
What time is it?
7:40.
7:40, okay.
Yeah.
Talking
Okay, Megan, come here.
Yeah, let's get Megan up here.
Hello.
Hey, Megan.
I'll just sort of sit here. Get really comfortable.
Oh, good company, yeah.
Hi.
So,
Okay.
Meg, how did you start doing this?
I started doing this also through Lauren. It was probably a couple of years ago now.
Yeah.
And I come and hang out and listen to people's stories. I find it really interesting. And I've also shared my own story a couple of times on air as well. I've lived with anxiety disorders. So that's sort of my thing. But I'm more curious to hear right now about Andy. Would you like to tell us a bit more about your story, Andy?
Which ones?
Sort of about maybe, you were saying earlier how people might treat you differently. Can you sort of explain something about that?
Yeah, as an example, I went to see a movie and it was a marathon movie from 7 p.m. till about 7 a.m. and I was walking up Schoolhouse and whatever else that street is, and I get halfway up and a cop stops me and they ask me for my information, ID, all the usual stuff, and I go, look, and I haven't been drinking, I just got out of the theater, all I have is a large bottle in my hand, and they offered me a ride home, and I said no thank you, because I use common sense, and I thought of my mom, what would she think if I got out of a cop car, kind of thing. She kind of gave me props for it when I told her this, but I said no, and I just kept struggling on the hill. But it was well worth it instead of explaining why a cop gave me a ride home. It was nice for them to offer and relate to my disability. But I had thought in my head about it and I still said no. Don't take the ride, just keep walking, you'll be fine. And that's about it.
Did you make it home?
Yes. And when my mom heard that, she was amazed that I actually thought about it beforehand. Yeah.
Have you seen that movie, Let's Be Cops?
Oh yeah, that one's funny.
Yeah. If everybody out there, I just watched it last night. It's called Let's Be Cops, and it's about these guys who pretend to be police officers and go out into the world doing police officer stuff. So, just a side note that it's a good movie.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. It's a comedy. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Time is it?
7:40.
So will you tell us more about your favorite episode, the one where your Uncle Bill was on air with us?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we ended up winning an award for this episode, and I'll share a bit of the story. So the person that came on the show had PTSD, and he
Post-traumatic stress disorder.
Post-traumatic stress disorder, and his incident, it was a very intense show. He was driving, what were they called? Semis, thank you. He was driving a semi down the Coquihalla, and it was winter time. I think it was February, and there was a car that was coming in the other direction, and she hit ice, and the car flew into his semi, and his semi fell down the hill. So he got out of his semi and he crawled back up the hill, and he found body pieces all over the road. And the worst part was that there were three children and one mother in the car. And it was absolutely amazing for him to come on the show and to tell us his story of that. It's an absolutely horrific experience. And he said after the show, he said, you know what, that really helped me. And that's what I find with a lot of people. They feel that they're healed. You know, that they have healing done to them when they come on the show and they tell their story. But he's doing good now, dealing with it, and he's happy. He's really happy. He likes to come out to my farm and play with the horses, and I make him hold Poofy, of course. So we ended up winning an award for that show.
And that's one thing that I really like about being on this show is hearing everybody's honesty and stories, you know, and yeah, a lot of people have come afterwards and said to us it was so therapeutic to come and just get that out, you know, whether they've used their name, a different name, you know, whether it's been a full story, part of a story, sharing their art, their music, just that aspect of it has been so rewarding, just to see that happen, to know that it was, you know, Jay and Lauren and everybody who's ever been a part of the show has helped facilitate that, so it's wonderful.
I want to thank you, Megan, for coming out on the show. You know, as much as you have, and being my best friend, and all of that, and thank you, Andy, for also coming on the show and sharing his experience with us.
No problem.
And then thank you, Jay. Aaron, he's right there. For coming on the show and mentoring me and just trying to make the show awesome. So great. So we're gonna go to We're Lazuli. Are you guys ready to do another song?
Yeah.
I think so. I'll give you your mic back. Thanks.
Place it. Yeah, just place it. Oh, that's awesome. Like your stars are open right now. Yeah.
Hello again, everyone.
Do you need this?
Do we need this one? 2 mics or just one for this one? We're actually missing one of our members. He fled to go to Olympia to visit his family. So we are sad, but I don't think we'd have room for him because he's the biggest out of us all, and he towers over us too.
Somewhat of a gorilla?
We might have had to put him in the corner if he came. This one is called Blindsided.
So just mic it down 5, 6.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for coming out and hanging out and listening.
Thank you once again for listening.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Should have wireless mics next to it.
Yeah.
Dang these cutbacks.
Yeah. So I want to start to end. We're coming to a close for our show today, and I wanted to ask Jay a final question. What was your best moment doing the show?
It's really hard, like, to just pick one because everyone's like, every show's like a meal, and like, you know, it's a gift. Like, it's hard favorites, but there's memorable shows like your uncle sharing the story. Like, I didn't know, you know, what his PTSD story is, and then when he vividly just talked about what he came across, and he just looked me straight in the eye, you know, and you could see the sadness in his eyes, and like, yeah, that look is still in like the back of my mind, and yeah, it's so much remorse, but in that room, like, we were all there, and it was silent. Like, there's just a lot of compassion in that room, and you know, we're sharing it publicly. Some people even out themselves on the show. Like, it's like, oh, I've got bipolar. And it's like, oh, yeah, people don't know about it, but like, so people do this, and they feel really safe, and there's just kind of magic in that room. Like, you kind of feel the vibe here.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
And we're spirit warriors. We're sensitive. We take on a lot, and as artists too, we take, you know, that emotional pain, and then we're like repack it as like, it's someone else's pain, but it's really ours, and through them kind of thing. But you know, that's kind of what we do on the show, and it's healing, and we ask really direct questions like, you know, how did that make you feel? And people don't ask those questions to each other, like, because they don't want to deal with the emotional consequences of like what that's about. And
When I start a show, I come out and I ask, you know, are you nervous, or, you know, is it okay talking about this? And at first people are, I don't know if I want to, and so then I say my story. And, you know, I tell them about myself and what I've gone through, what struggles I've gone through, and what fights I've won. And when you open yourself up to somebody, they feel that they're able to open themselves up to other people as well. And it's just, I've said it again and again and again, but it's healing. Just talking about things is absolutely healing.
yeah, people feel really safe because we don't use it against them. Like, we don't, like, see, I was in the corporate world, and you let some of those things out, they come back to you in a negotiation, or it gets used against you. It's very, very dangerous. Like, and I see it, and all for money, or really greedy and egotistical things. And this is why I have a really, you know, I'll say the word I hate on for some of the greed in the corporation, and you know, you see it in the activism work I do, but I don't tolerate it, and because I know what that effect has on other people and on myself. So, but I try to do it rooted in compassion, not like hate for the other person. I think I have to accept that we're both in the same system, and you know, they're a byproduct of patriarchy or abuse or whatever. I think that's what we found in the show. You know, people come from their own experiences or whatever, and in the moment we're just dealing with them as people, regardless of what personal politics are behind it. So, yeah, it's awesome. You know, listen to us, have fun, and you know, it's a serious world we live in, but we still have to have like heartbeat and laugh at ourselves, and you know, make mistakes and trip and fall. And,
Definitely. So we've actually come to almost the end of our show. So Jay, is there any last thing that you would like to tell our listeners and our audience here?
Yeah, just thanks for coming and listening, and feel free to have a conversation with anybody, like in our group here. And we're online, sound53radio.org, changed it from .com, and then on Facebook. But if you have a guest or someone that really has a story to tell, just let Lauren know.
Yeah, feel free. I'm on Facebook, Lauren McNeil. If you want to come up to me after the show, if you want a business card, I can give you a business card as well. Yeah, and thank you so much for everybody coming out and watching this absolutely beautiful performance by artists and listening to us speak about the show. So Thank you so much, guys, for coming on the show. I absolutely want you on again. Do you guys want to end the show with the last?
Sure.
Sure.
Why not? Yeah.
Yeah, and then after that we have open mic. So I know Joel's here, and so we'll open it up after that, and the drums we can use. Thank you to Rainer and Helen for making space available and for everybody coming. And please support the Galaxy show.
Thank you, Ryan Fletcher, for being on the other side, helping us out with this. So thank you so much, Ryan.
My pleasure.
Thank you. Alright, so this is our last one. We'll take you guys away with this one. It's called So It Goes, which will be on our EP. I keep forgetting. And our EP shall be finished in January?
Yes.
Alright, we'll have good news by then. Thanks.